They say wealth can build empires, but for one man, it built legends. A king so rich his gold reshaped the world's economy. Historians still struggle to comprehend the scale of his fortune, so vast it could buy entire kingdoms. His name was Mansa Musa. And his story is not just about gold, it's about power, faith, and the rise of a civilization that the ancient world never saw coming. Long before skyscrapers defined wealth and stock markets measured power, there was an empire, hidden in the sands of West Africa, that commanded more gold than any other on earth. It was called the Empire of Mali. In the early 1300s, the Mali Empire stretched across 1,000 miles, from the Atlantic coast to the heart of the Sahara. It was a land carved by merchants, ruled by warriors, and blessed by the gods of fortune. Trade routes connected Mali to North Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. Salt, ivory, and slaves moved through its markets, but gold was the true lifeblood of its greatness. At the center of this empire stood one man, Musa Keita I, known to history as Mansa Musa. He wasn't born into unlimited power. He inherited a throne during uncertain times, when rival kingdoms and distant empires watched Mali's wealth with greedy eyes. But Musa wasn't just a ruler, he was a visionary. He believed his empire wasn't just destined to be rich, it was destined to be remembered. Under Mansa Musa's reign, Mali became the beating heart of the medieval world. Caravans carrying gold and salt crossed endless deserts. Scholars and architects from faraway lands traveled to his capital, seeking opportunity and knowledge. In the cities of Gao and Timbuktu, knowledge was more valuable than gold, and Mansa Musa's dream was to make his empire the center of learning, trade, and faith in Africa. But what truly made Mansa Musa legendary, what turned his name into myth, was a journey unlike anything the world had ever seen. A journey that would shake the very foundations of the medieval world. It wasn't a war or a conquest, it was a pilgrimage. In the year 1324, Mansa Musa made a decision that would change history forever. He would leave the safety of his empire and journey over 4,000 miles across the desert to the holy city of Mecca. But this was no ordinary pilgrimage. This was a display of power the world had never seen. With him marched an army of servants, soldiers, scholars, and camels. So many camels that the desert itself seemed to move. Each one carried gold, not by the bag, but by the ton. Tens of thousands of followers dressed in fine silks shimmering under the desert sun. It was less a pilgrimage and more a moving city made of gold. They crossed the Sahara under brutal heat, from the dunes of Mali through the salt cities of Tagaza, all the way to Cairo, Egypt. By the time Musa arrived, news of his wealth had already spread. Crowds lined the streets to witness the richest man alive. What happened next would stun the world. In the markets of Cairo, Musa gave away gold as if it were sand. He paid debts, funded merchants, and showered the poor with riches. But there was one problem. He gave away too much. The sudden flood of gold into Egypt's economy caused inflation. Prices for everything, from bread to horses, soared overnight. For years, gold lost its value across North Africa and the Middle East. One man's generosity had single-handedly shaken the economy of an entire region. And while some rulers saw Musa's actions as madness, others saw something far greater. A message that in the far reaches of Africa stood an empire wealthier and more powerful than any in Europe or Asia. The name Mali began appearing on maps drawn in Italy, Spain, and Arabia, often crowned with a golden scepter, marking the land of Mansa Musa. By the time he reached Mecca, kings and scholars alike spoke his name with awe. Even the Caliph of Islam heard of the Golden King, who gave endlessly and asked for nothing. Mansa Musa wasn't just spreading wealth, he was building an image, a legend so vast it outlived every gold coin he ever spent. When Mansa Musa returned from his pilgrimage, he was no longer just a king, he was a legend. Across the world, stories spread of a ruler whose generosity bent the laws of economy, a man who turned gold into history. Back in Mali, Musa poured his fortune into something far greater than wealth: knowledge. He built grand mosques and libraries. He invited scholars from Egypt, Arabia, and Spain to teach in his empire. The city of Timbuktu became a shining light of learning, a place where science, art, and faith thrived side by side. Long after the last piece of his gold was spent, his influence remained. Maps drawn centuries later still marked Mali with a golden crown. And when modern economists tried to estimate his fortune, They could only agree on one thing: no one in history ever matched it. But Mansa Musa's real legacy wasn't measured in gold or glory. It was in what he left behind. An empire that proved Africa was not a shadow of civilization, but its heartbeat. He showed the world that true power is not in what you take, but in what you build. And though time has buried his palaces beneath the sands, the story of the Golden King still gleams, eternal. This was Beyond the Timeline, Empires of Gold, where power, greed, and destiny collide. Next time, we travel beyond the desert to uncover another empire that rose in glory and fell to greed.